For decades, comets have been cataloged, studied, and dismissed as harmless wanderers of the solar system. 30 snowballs of ice and dust with no real purpose beyond drifting endlessly through space. But 3I ATLAS refuses to play by those rules. From the moment it was discovered, it has defied the expectations of astronomers. Its movements and emissions whispering of something far more sinister. And so we must ask the question that no official agency dares to put forward. What if 3I ATLAS is not a comet at all? What if it is a machine, an interstellar construct designed for one terrifying mission, harvesting the energy of stars? Imagine for a moment the implications. A visitor from another system, not a frozen relic, but a power plant adrift in the cosmos, carrying the fingerprints of intelligence in its every move. If this is true, then 3I ATLAS is not just passing through. It is here to feed, to drain, to transform our life-giving sun into its personal reservoir. The idea sounds outrageous, almost absurd, yet countless anomalies line up to support it. Its trajectory is too neat, its glow too deliberate, its silence too heavy. Nature, as we know it, is messy and unpredictable. Machines, however, are precise, and 3I Atlas radiates precision. Already, whispers are circulating among communities of amateur astronomers who spend their nights glued to telescopes. They speak of a strange rhythm in the object's luminosity, a pulse, as if the light were regulated rather than random. They ask themselves, could this be a signal, a calibration, a countdown? Across online forums, diagrams and theories spread like wildfire. Some compare it to our own solar panels and satellites, scaled up by orders of magnitude and disguised within a comet's shell. Others insist it is not collecting light at all, but instead preparing to tap into the sun's corona, drawing energy from the very plasma rivers that sustain our solar system. And then there are the prophecies, the warnings whispered long before telescopes existed. Nostradamus spoke of a traveler that feeds upon the great flame. Ancient texts describe thieves of the light visiting the earth in cycles of shadow. Perhaps they were not talking about eclipses or allegories after all. Perhaps they were trying to warn us that the darkness does not always come from within. It sometimes arrives on a trajectory, cloaked as a wandering star. The most disturbing element, however, is the silence of official institutions. NASA repeats its lines: natural body, no danger, typical comet. Yet the same institutions quietly restrict high-resolution imagery, redact observation data, and speak only through carefully scripted statements. Why would they do that? Unless the truth were too destabilizing to admit. The truth that we are staring not at ice and dust, but at technology, not at chaos, but at intent. Picture the scale of such a machine. We build power plants to supply cities, nuclear reactors to feed nations. But 3I Atlas, if it is a generator, draws on a scale beyond comprehension. It would not be built to light homes, it would be built to light worlds, to fuel ships, colonies, perhaps civilizations scattered across galaxies. And if this is true, then its arrival in our system is no accident. The sun is its target, and Earth is merely collateral damage. This possibility has already begun to reshape the way ordinary people talk about the night sky. On TikTok, videos with millions of views describe Atlas as a cosmic vampire, a star drinker stalking our solar neighborhood. On Twitter, hashtags trend daily. Hashtag solar battery, hashtag alien engine, hashtag they are feeding. Reddit explodes with theories of hidden civilizations using our star like an intergalactic gas station. Memes spread, but beneath the humor lies a pulse of dread. People laugh because the alternative is too terrifying to face. And so the question remains, what is 3I Atlas truly? A frozen relic or a machine disguised as one? Is it drifting aimlessly, or did someone somewhere design it to travel here? To us, it is an enigma. To them, perhaps it is routine. But for humanity, the stakes could not be higher. Because if it really is a cosmic power plant, then it is not just visiting, it is coming to feed. And if it drains even a fraction of the sun's output, even a fraction of the light and warmth we take for granted, then life on Earth will never be the same again. When astronomers first charted the path of 3I Atlas, the numbers were straightforward: a hyperbolic orbit, a slingshot around the sun, and then a swift return into interstellar space. A typical visitor, nothing more. But over the last months, the math has shifted. Each recalculation brings the trajectory closer, as if invisible hands were adjusting the curve. Minor corrections, impossible to explain by natural means, accumulate into something undeniable. 3I Atlas is not behaving like a comet at all. Natural objects do not steer themselves. They do not slow down, correct course, or alter direction with the elegance of a spacecraft. Yet this is exactly what the data now suggests. Dr. Michael Harrow, an orbital dynamics specialist at the fictional Eridan Institute, gave a chilling assessment in a leaked conference call. These aren't deviations caused by gravity. They look like programmed maneuvers, fuel-efficient corrections, the kind of arcs we would plot for interplanetary probes. His words were quickly scrubbed from the official transcript, but audio fragments circulate online, replayed like forbidden chants in forums dedicated to the mystery. At first, skeptics dismissed the anomalies as measurement noise. But when 3 separate observatories, one in Chile, one in Spain, and one in Australia, all reported the same peculiar pattern, dismissal became harder. The object's acceleration is inconsistent with a passive rock. It is as if thrust, however subtle, is being applied. And thrust requires intent. Simulations run by independent researchers paint an even stranger picture. They show that Atlas's approach is not a straight plunge into the solar system, but a calculated spiral, an energy-efficient descent, mirroring the gravity-assist strategies humans use when navigating probes past planets. Why would a comet follow the same strategy as an engineered craft? It's not falling, explained Dr. Amelia Cortez, another voice whose name appears in unofficial leaks. It's choosing. The implications ripple outward. If this object is adjusting its own course, then it is under control, either remotely guided from afar, or following an embedded program written long before it entered our skies. Both scenarios suggest a level of engineering that dwarfs anything humanity has achieved. And the destination is clear. It is aligning itself with the sun, the only energy source massive enough to justify such precision. Even stranger are the timing anomalies. Observers have noted that Atlas seems to shift its path subtly, in rhythm with solar activity, as if responding to flares or coronal mass ejections. The adjustments are too regular to be coincidence. One speculative paper, posted briefly before vanishing from preprint archives, suggested the object is listening to the sun, waiting for the optimal moment to synchronize its approach. That paper is gone, but screenshots of its abstract spread daily across encrypted groups, fueling suspicion that the truth is being deliberately buried. Among the most unsettling claims is that Atlas recently slowed down, not due to gravitational drag, but as if applying brakes. One leaked graph shows a sudden drop in velocity, perfectly timed to position it for a closer swing around the sun. Critics argue it's impossible. Enthusiasts insist it's proof of guidance. A viral video put it bluntly: comets don't slow down, machines do. And so, the narrative emerges. 3I Atlas is no random interstellar drifter. Its orbit is too tidy, its adjustments too precise. Like a pilot conserving fuel on a long journey, it curves inward with economy, wasting no energy, wasting no time. This is the signature of design. The math no longer points to nature, it points to intent. And if the intent is to rendezvous with our star, then the story of Atlas is only just beginning. When ordinary comets approach the sun, they behave like frozen relics, waking from a deep sleep. Ice vaporizes, jets of gas burst chaotically from the surface, and dust streams outward in random patterns, forming the glowing tails we've come to expect. But 3I Atlas refuses to obey this script. Its emissions are not chaotic, not random, not natural. They are structured, they are deliberate, they are terrifyingly precise. Telescopic images reveal jets emerging at equidistant points across its glowing body. Unlike the ragged fountains of dust that most comets display, Atlas shows streams aligned like exhaust ports. Amateurs describe them as symmetrical nozzles, evenly spaced, each jet firing with the rhythm of machinery. A true comet should look wild, but this one resembles an engine testing its thrusters. Some observers claim the plumes form a repeating pattern, almost like a pulse or signal. They say the intervals between emissions are too regular to be geological chance. Instead, they mirror controlled bursts, the kind used by spacecraft to stabilize rotation or fine-tune a course. One anonymous technician at the fictional Callisto Space Observatory allegedly remarked, "If I didn't know better, I'd think I was watching a spacecraft firing maneuvering jets." His words, quickly deleted from an internal report, live on through screenshots and whispers in online forums. Even more disturbing are the colors. Spectroscopic readings indicate strange ratios of carbon dioxide and metallic traces that ordinary comets should not emit. Some data points suggest traces of titanium vapor, a material associated more with spacecraft construction than frozen rocks. Critics argue it must be error or contamination, but the coincidence is hard to ignore. Why would a comet emit the same elements we use in aerospace alloys? In a leaked audio log, Dr. Elena Markovic, a supposed propulsion expert from the Orion Research Facility, explained what these emissions might mean. Symmetrical jets are not accidental. They indicate design. This is thrust control, or at minimum, a regulated release system. We are not looking at sublimating ice. We are looking at engineered exhaust. The log was discredited and labeled a fabrication, yet it spread faster than any denial, fueling suspicions that scientists know more than they admit. Adding to the unease is the alignment of these jets with the comet's trajectory. Each time Atlas shifts its path closer to the sun, observers note corresponding emissions, like timed bursts propelling it toward its target. Natural venting should scatter randomly, yet Atlas seems to exhale exactly when movement is required, as though it breathes in sync with its journey. On social media, a nickname has emerged: the Green Engine. Viral videos show the glowing body with its emerald haze, captions screaming, "Engines engaged." TikTok edits loop footage of the symmetrical jets firing, set to ominous electronic beats, while conspiracy forums map the timing of the plumes against changes in trajectory. The patterns line up. Coincidence begins to crumble. Even skeptics grow uneasy. A comet with natural emissions should spin irregularly, wobbling under the chaotic push of escaping gases. But Atlas rotates with eerie stability, like a gyroscope balanced by invisible control. Its motion is smooth, its face presented toward the sun with unsettling consistency. That stability implies control. That stability implies purpose. And so the theory builds. What we are witnessing are not frozen geysers, but exhaust streams. Not ice breaking apart, but power being managed, propulsion being executed. Every symmetrical plume is another line of evidence, another piece of the puzzle, pointing away from nature and toward design. Atlas may not simply be drifting toward the sun, it may be powering itself there. For centuries, we have watched comets as omens, signs, harbingers of disaster. Now, in the case of 3I Atlas, those omens may finally be real. Because the plumes we see are not the chaotic size of a dying rock. They are the deliberate breaths of a machine on its way to feed. What if all those symmetrical jets, all those carefully timed maneuvers, are not random at all, but part of a grander plan, a plan to feed upon the star at the heart of our solar system? This is where the solar harvest hypothesis emerges, a theory so audacious that it borders on science fiction, and yet it explains the anomalies better than any other. The idea is simple and terrifying. 3I Atlas is not a comet. It is a power plant, an interstellar parasite designed to extract energy from suns. To understand this possibility, we must look at our own ideas of stellar engineering. Humanity has long theorized about harnessing the sun's power. Visionaries like Freeman Dyson once suggested the construction of massive structures, Dyson spheres, or swarms of satellites that could capture and store a star's output. We are nowhere close to building such constructs, but the concept is accepted as plausible. If we, in our infancy as a spacefaring species, can imagine such things, why would it be impossible for an older, far more advanced civilization to create something smaller, mobile, and disguised? Something like 3I Atlas. Scientists have already observed that the object's jets and emissions line up with optimal points in its orbit, almost as if they are not venting waste, but channeling energy. What if those bursts of plasma are not accidents, but deliberate intakes and exhausts? Tiny sips of solar matter, stored within a hidden core. The plasma that pours from the sun carries unimaginable amounts of energy. If 3I Atlas were equipped with magnetic funnels or crystalline collectors, it could convert those streams into usable power. In other words, the coma that surrounds it may not be ice at all, but a cloak of energy capture. A leaked commentary attributed to Dr. Victor Hale of the fictional Lyra Institute describes the hypothesis in chilling terms. Imagine a machine designed to travel across galaxies, unable to carry enough fuel for the journey. Instead, it refuels by docking with stars, siphoning just enough energy to continue. To us, this comet looks like a visitor. In truth, it may be a hungry traveler, one that cannot survive without feeding. His words spread across conspiracy channels, dismissed by mainstream media, yet they resonate with the mounting evidence. Consider, too, the strange synchronicity between Atlas's approach and recent fluctuations in solar activity. A handful of observatories has noted minor dips and surges in the corona's brightness, phenomena brushed aside as coincidence. But what if these are the first signs of feeding? Small experiments, tiny gulps of plasma as the machine tests its systems before the main harvest. A true comet would scatter, burn, and fall apart under such conditions. Atlas, instead, grows more precise, more aligned, more hungry. Online theorists have gone even further, suggesting that Atlas is not just harvesting energy, but storing it. They speak of hidden crystal lattices, reactors embedded deep within its core, turning light into fuel for unimaginable journeys. Some claim that the symmetry of its jets resembles the layout of solar panel arrays hidden beneath the veil of dust. Others compare its behavior to giant stellar engines described in speculative physics papers, machines capable of dragging entire civilizations from one star to the next. The solar harvest hypothesis paints a picture both awe-inspiring and terrifying. If Atlas is a power plant, then it is part of a network, a fleet, or perhaps a solitary survivor. It could be collecting energy for itself or transmitting it elsewhere. Imagine a beacon powered not by batteries, but by the output of stars, a relay stretching across the void, fueled by the light of countless suns. In such a scenario, our sun is nothing more than the next stop in its endless journey. And yet the question burns, how much energy would it need? If it takes even a fraction of the sun's output, the balance of Earth's delicate climate could collapse. The smallest reduction in solar flux could plunge us into darkness, ice, and famine. If it takes more, if it truly drinks deeply, then the Earth may never recover. The solar harvest hypothesis does not just reframe Atlas as a machine, it reframes our sun as prey, and humanity, basking in the star's warmth, becomes collateral in a feeding cycle that may have repeated across galaxies for millions of years. For weeks, whispers of hidden documents and silenced voices have been circling through digital corridors. What began as speculation on obscure forums has crystallized into something far more chilling. Leaked reports that claim 3I Atlas has already begun to influence our sun. These so-called documents, originating from unnamed insiders at solar observatories, suggest that the corona, the outer atmosphere of the sun, has shown unexplainable fluctuations, spikes, and sudden dimming episodes, all coinciding perfectly with the interstellar object's approach. According to these leaks, sensitive instruments aboard solar monitoring satellites registered faint but repeating anomalies, drops in local coronal brightness, bursts of ultraviolet radiation, and a strange pulse in X-ray emissions. To the casual observer, these would mean little, but to solar physicists, they represent disruptions that no ordinary comet could possibly cause. One file, attributed to a technician at the fictional Solaris observation station in Hawaii, describes coronal shadows forming as if something were siphoning energy in narrow streams. The technician's notes end abruptly with a chilling line: "It's not reflecting light, it's drinking it." Officially, nothing has been acknowledged. NASA, ESA, and other agencies continue to reassure the public that solar activity is within normal bounds. Yet, at the same time, requests for raw satellite data have been denied or delayed indefinitely. Several independent research teams claim their access to solar telemetry has been restricted since Atlas was first identified. Why? If there is truly nothing to fear, why the sudden blackout of information? The leaks only deepen the suspicion. One particularly viral file, allegedly from a classified briefing to government officials, speaks of localized depressions in the corona that align directly with Atlas's orbital path. The document even references magnetic anomalies that resemble the early stages of extraction, as if invisible tendrils are reaching from the comet toward the sun's surface. Skeptics say the file is a hoax, but its technical language, its charts and timestamps have convinced millions. People want to believe it because it explains the unease that official statements cannot erase. Adding to the tension are rumors of audio recordings. One, circulated in encrypted chat groups, claims to be the voice of Dr. Joseph Astanovich, the fictional astrophysicist already linked to earlier slips. In the recording, a weary voice mutters, "It started. The sun is bleeding in patterns we cannot account for. If this continues, the harvest phase will coincide with perihelion." Whether the voice is genuine or fabricated hardly matters. The impact is the same. The recording is played, remixed, dissected, and feared. Even mainstream media cannot entirely ignore the storm. While most outlets dismiss the reports as conspiracy, a handful cautiously acknowledge irregularities in solar data. Small news channels in South America and Eastern Europe claim whistleblowers are contacting them directly, warning of a slow drain that must not be revealed to avoid panic. The denials of larger agencies only add fuel to the fire. Every contradiction becomes evidence. Every silence becomes proof. In homes around the globe, ordinary people look up at the sky with fresh unease. When the sun sets earlier than expected or rises behind a veil of clouds, whispers spread. It's dimmer today. Power outages are blamed on the comet. Strange auroras caused by normal geomagnetic storms are recast as signs of solar weakening. People film the dawn and upload shaky videos labeled, "See, the light is fading." The leaked reports may be unverifiable, yet they have achieved what official silence could not. They have convinced a growing number that the harvest has already begun, that Three-Eye Atlas is not waiting for October, not waiting for perihelion, but has started drinking in preparation for the feast to come. And if these insiders are correct, the sun itself may already be under attack. Across the world, whispers of secrecy have erupted into a storm of speculati. Every new denial from official agencies only hardens the belief that something monumental is being hidden. Ordinary citizens no longer wait for answers. They create them. And the public's reaction to Three-Eye Atlas has become a story as fascinating and as terrifying as the object itself. On social media, hashtags like #SolarVampire and #AlienBattery dominate feeds. TikTok is flooded with clips showing side-by-side footage of the sun from different years, with users insisting the light looks weaker now than before. Some videos rack up millions of views overnight, claiming that Atlas is already feeding on our star. Others remix leaked audio clips of supposed scientists, adding ominous music and captions like, "They knew it all along." Whether the material is real or fake, the effect is the same. Fear spreads faster than fact. Forums and chat groups thrive on wild theories. One corner of Reddit speculates that 3-Atlas is actually a stranded alien ark, designed to recharge by draining stellar plasma before continuing its journey. Discord servers light up with debates about whether humanity should attempt contact, half calling for a warning message, the other half fearing that any signal would be like knocking on the door of a predator. A popular thread reads, "We are like moths debating whether to talk to the flame." Religious groups have seized on the comet with fiery conviction. In South America, evangelists declare it the fief of the sun, a sign of the final age. In Asia, a Buddhist sect claims Atlas is the devourer of light, a celestial being sent to cleanse the earth of its arrogance. In Europe, Catholic processions march through city streets with banners reading, "Do not drink our star." The language is dramatic, but the effect is undeniable. Faith has woven the comet into prophecy, amplifying its mystery with spiritual dread. Meanwhile, conspiracy theorists push the narrative of government cover-up. They insist that NASA, ESA, and every major observatory have been silenced by shadow agencies. The absence of raw solar data is cited as proof of a massive conspiracy. Viral posts compare recent press releases to scripted propaganda, repeating the same phrases word for word. Natural body, no danger, typical comet. Those words have become a meme, mocked and repeated with bitter irony across the internet. The panic is not only digital, it bleeds into the real world. In several cities, people gather on rooftops at sunrise, filming the dawn as if capturing the last evidence of normal light. Candle sales surge as families hoard sources of illumination just in case. In some countries, survivalist communities double in size overnight, convinced that Atlas will bring a permanent blackout. Markets feel the tremors too. Solar panel stocks skyrocket, then crash as rumors spread that panels will either save humanity or attract the cosmic parasite to Earth itself. And then there are the pranksters, the artists, the opportunists. A viral deepfake video appeared last week, showing a NASA scientist breaking down in tears, whispering, "We cannot stop it." The video was debunked within hours, yet the damage was done. Millions saw the clip and shared it before corrections reached them. To those already convinced, the correction looked like more proof of suppression. In darker corners of the web, people whisper about a shadow government, negotiating with whoever or whatever sent Three-Eye Atlas. They imagine secret deals, let it drain a little energy, just enough to move on, in exchange for sparing the Earth. Others believe Atlas is a test, an alien probe gauging how humanity reacts to cosmic fear. They're watching our panic, one user wrote, studying how we collapse before they even arrive. Whether born from faith, paranoia, or desperation, public reaction has transformed Atlas from a scientific curiosity into a global obsession. It is no longer just a comet in the sky, it is a mirror reflecting our fears, our hopes, and our conspiracies. Some laugh, some pray, some prepare for the end. But beneath all the noise lies one shared truth. Humanity feels powerless. A visitor from the stars has turned our sun into a target and the world into an audience. And the audience is restless, waiting for the final act to begin.